and I forgot where I was going with this, so whatever. But I love indie comics. Is the short, I guess the
Oh
short
yeah,
version
slice of
of
life,
that.
indie. Yeah, you were
Oh,
expanding
slight,
your.
yeah. Buzz, buzz, babies. Buzz, buzz, babies. Buzz, buzz, babies. All right, Buzz Buzz babies, and welcome back to another episode of Blake's Buzz. And this week I've got a really cool guest with another really cool book to talk about. I'm so excited, folks. Let's bring him out. You may have read some of his stuff before. He wrote Liebestrasse, and he's written Trick Pony. It's a Comixology original, and it's something you all need to be paying attention to and get on your reading stacks. I've got Greg Lockard here. What is up, sir? How are you today?
Oh my God, I'm so good. I'm better now. That was the best intro of my entire career.
Hell yeah, that's what I go
Thank
for.
you.
So
That's
we
amazing.
start here so that when we end
Yeah,
elsewhere,
yeah,
not
yeah. No, no. It could be a roller coaster. We can go up and down.
yeah, that's what I try to
That's
do.
my good, 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 good. We give them
You
levels.
gotta keep people on their toes. It's all about the metrics, you know. It's all
Yeah.
about those clicks and I mean I guess it's about the stories and comics in one way or another. But
Well, yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
in a sense. And speaking of, I'm very excited to talk about your new book, Greg. Trick Pony sent me on a on memory lane. I've never done like the rodeo and I can't ride a horse, right? But I know all about self-destructive behavior and not letting go of shit you should let go of. So like
Uh,
this like really did, it really grabbed me. It took me for such a wonderful ride. I'm getting better at this, so I want to get it right out of the way. I want to let so that people know. So Greg, like we're at a con. I'm walking by your table. I see a rack of Trick Ponies out, right? And they're looking great under the lights. The colors are popping. I stop by, grab this book. I'm like, hey, what's this is a western? What's this about? Let me know. What's this comic about, Greg?
yeah. My pitch at the table would be the Trick Pony is it's a road trip story. Like, so it's not like it takes place in the American Southwest, but it's not like a traditional Western. It's about a gay rodeo star who's kind of uh, getting a little bit older in his career, and he was kind of the young hotshot, and he's been dealing with his anxieties and depression and maybe unproductive ways and is a little bit of a party boy and just kind of disenfranchised and unsatisfied with where he's at, but he's achieved all his dreams. So yeah, we meet Jimmy in like this little like magical western city, and you know he's we see we join him in the rodeo and go from there. Maybe I wouldn't go as long if you were at my table, but sometimes I just can't shut up either. So maybe yeah, but yeah, that's the start.
Hey,
That's the
Greg,
hook.
if I wrote this book, I wouldn't be able to shut up about it either. I'm being
Oh,
honest
thank
about
you.
that. It's
That's really sweet.
and it's so universal. I was really shocked.
Mhm.
I went in kind of blind. I know that solicits are very important, and I know they're very important to the industry and book sales, but
Mhm.
sometimes I feel like solicits reveal a little too much, right? Or
Mhm.
like I've read solicits where it talks about like what happens in like issue 2 and 3, and so you read issue 1 and you're like, wait, what? You know, and so like, you
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
so things get weird. So I do like going in blind. So I knew this was like an emotional, sort of slice of life esque narrative. I knew that going in. That's about all I knew.
Mhm.
And I knew the
Okay. Yeah,
art looked.
yeah,
I
yeah.
liked the art and I love the colors. So that's like all I knew. And yeah, like meeting Jimmy and like going on this ride and like and he's this like his light isn't fading yet, right? But like you said, he's
Mhm.
older. The falls are hitting him harder, right? Like
Yup.
they're basically telling him like, we don't know how many more times you can fall off this horse and pick yourself
Yeah,
back
yeah, yeah.
up, which is
Right.
scary. And I've never thought about that because you think about like professional athletes and stuff, right? And usually it goes right to football because like, those guys
Mhm.
ruin their bodies. But
Yup.
the, rodeo is a tough ass sport. I was watching
Oh
some
yeah.
like bull riding videos, like the longest 8 or 7 seconds of your life, right? Like
Uh-huh.
literally holding on for dear life, never know what's going to happen. So these guys are living a rough and tumble life on the road. And on top of that, he likes his tequila. He likes to party. He's a party boy, you know.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
he's living a hard life, but he's very tender. I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
juxtaposition. Was that hard to write him like that? You know, like this kind of like rock star, calloused, drinking away his problems. But I mean, like at his soul, is at his core, he's a poet. He's a romantic.
Yeah. No, I'm so glad you picked up on all that because like that is like I guess we'll start there. Yeah, like that is the dichotomy that's so fun to write, right? Like that's like comic book readers, we love that. It's like the secret identity and the superhero persona.
Mm-hmm.
Like the so yeah, I don't know if it was easy or hard to. I mean, the whole book was hard to write, but yeah, that personality just really Jimmy's been in my head for so long that it was just fun to write. Yeah, I like that I like that you said it was universal because it is. Like also like we're all comic book geeks and readers and book nerds and
And I can guarantee you, a man or woman or someone has hurt our feelings in a hard
yes, yes,
way.
yes, yes. That
Like we
that
can all
first
go to that
love,
pain. Yeah.
those like crushes, like we never get over them. And that's kind of beautiful too, if you
Yeah.
look at it the right
It
way. It
is.
can
Yeah.
be. And so yeah, Jimmy didn't let go of that stuff. And it was kind of nice too that like to speak to like the gay part, the queer part, like so many westerns and cowboy stuff, it isn't always welcoming. I didn't want Jimmy's trauma to be something homophobic or something,
Mm.
like abuse or something in his past. Like I did want it to just be that first love. Yeah, I just wanted like that relatability for everyone, but also just like that peace for like any queer person that picks up this book and doesn't hopefully get traumatized by it. And there was a third thing you said that was so good. Oh yeah, the rough and tumble. Yeah, I mean, I saw most of this was written during the pandemic, so I couldn't go to rodeos, but I was watching a ton of YouTubes, which is the miracle of, or one of the benefits of our modern world, I
Right.
guess, and social media that I could do that. And then was it March or April? Just like 3 months ago, I went to Phoenix, and it was the International Gay Rodeo there,
Oh wow.
and that's like, and it's like some of the riders are sponsored, but it's not pro. It's like
Okay.
it's semi-pro or something. It's like that in between space where like you were saying about the football players, like these riders are like I saw a guy take a bullhorn to the face, like to the tooth, not to the face, God forbid, but like and like just for like the fun of like this competition. You know what I mean? Like there's no big prize on the line. This isn't
Wow.
like and I was just like, wow, it was so powerful because it was like, okay, we got it right. Like Trick Pony was already done by the time I went to this rodeo, and yeah, that whole scene in Phoenix was so welcoming and reaffirming, and it made me feel so good that Anna David, the artist and co-creator, and I got it right without having been there before. It was kind of magical.
I would see that is absolutely magical, because I was going to ask like why this scene, why this setting.
Mm.
And I know you, you never like writers will write anything, so
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that like you're tied to the sport or it was tied to your like upbringing or something, but it's also a lot of
Yeah.
people also say write what you know, which is
Mm-hmm.
also good advice. And it did feel natural. It felt like you had a lot of like just known interest and known history and known experience like with the culture. I was gonna ask like if this was, I didn't know if you were if you were like, and you were like, Blake, in another life, if I wasn't writing comic books, I'd be riding, baby. Like, like I didn't know.
Maybe I wish I was that tough.
You got the
No,
stash for it, dude.
I
Like
got the stat. I mean, right. It has been like a lifelong fan, maybe like a fandom of mine is all these like cowboys. So
oh really?
at a certain
Okay.
point, yeah. Well, I've always like what I mean, there's I'm a big film fan, so there's a lot of westerns I love, and that like the country music, like, and So the family stuff, I guess, without it, it's in no way biographical, autobiographical,
Mhm.
but like the so the yeah, I'm not a I've ridden a horse less than 5 times, but
Okay.
the the country aspect is very personal, and
Okay.
like doing right by that and being like, again, I mean, it kind of goes back to like the trauma of it all. It's like I'm very lucky to have family where I'm not the only gay person in the family,
Mm.
and I thought that was really like that's just something special and uncommon, unfortunately, in America. So
Yeah.
yeah, the fantasy of it, like it's not a specific place in the American Southwest, or you know, like it's not. It's kind of an amalgamation of like different places on this road trip. It's sort of a fantasy West, so yeah, that part was kind of maybe a gift to me writing it during the pandemic too. But also like hopefully like that's what comes through is like that it's like this fantasy space too that's like based on reality but
Oh,
maybe isn't exact.
yeah, there's a lot of dreamlike imagery, and then
Yeah.
like the wolf dog leading into the farmer, the really romantic
Mhm.
one night stand. There's a lot of stuff here that I really love. That Greg,
Cool.
I do this right a lot, and I've actually lucked out, and
Yeah.
I do comic production, like day job PR stuff, right? So like I live and
Yeah.
breathe comics. I see like what's out there, and there's not there. This is very unique. This isn't like even
Thank you.
typical slice of life. I mean, even if it was full of
Yeah.
just straight white people, a rodeo comic is rare, honestly. Like, you
Right.
know, like,
Yep.
and the fact that you've brought in, you know, the queer lit into it, and turned it into this like a really endearing story. And I was very shocked, and it was also pleasant too, because I know the world isn't like this, but I kept waiting for it, you know, like just because of the culture, because of where he's at,
Hmm.
the cowboy hats, the people that go to these events, right? I kept
Yeah.
waiting for like, when's it going to happen? When's he going to get called out? When's the F word going to get dropped or whatever, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, you know what? Like, we've all seen that story, and we know that that evil's out there, and we don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that being constantly reminded of it is necessary or helping, but you know, also like, you know, gay people, trans people, everybody has good, you know, like we all have good days. You're not
Hmm.
always bombarded with that element of negativity in your everyday life. I just kind of, that was refreshing to be like, wow, like you said, like you were very smart in controlling the trauma, and to make it that, to me, the pain seemed very real, but it wasn't like overbearing. It didn't bring out like a fear, you know, like you know.
Yeah.
And so like you were able to play with tension, to carry the story, and to push the narratives, and evolve the characters, you know, without you know, big hard hitting, like, you know, crazy page burner trauma. And again, like a lot of very smart writerly decisions on your part, in a book that, you know, even though there are these dreamlike sequences, absolutely beautiful art, my goodness.
Oh
Like
man, right?
Anna, my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
those
First
pages.
comic book ever that
No,
she's drawn.
oh, whoa, I didn't know that. Wow,
And
okay.
not just, and like even like a, you know what I mean, like short story, like she had no complete sequential samples when we met. I
Whoa.
know, isn't it crazy? It's wild. She's so talented. Yeah, and everything clicked when I met her, you know, like as you know, like horses are not easy to draw and
Everyone
most
hates doing
artists
them. Yeah.
hate it. So when there's a horse on every page and
Every single page, I think. Damn close.
damn close. And it wasn't like I was being a dick about it. Like that was just a story. And it wasn't fully, I hadn't started writing yet because when Comixology greenlit it, it was like, it was on the, I still needed to find a co-creator. I still needed to find an
Okay.
artist. It was approved just as like a one sheet pitch. So yeah, so then I went in open, and you know I've been in the business for a while, so I was definitely not short of people to talk to. And I was like, look, we're about to get a pile of money. Like, who wants to do this with me? And yeah, and I was talking to an artist I was working with as on another project as an editor, and they were like, I have the perfect person. she graduated from me from art school and is working at a stable right now, and loves horses, and and and
Wow.
um and they showed me like a fan art, Red Dead Redemption, which is the one with the demon horses.
Okay, there
are
were
the
in the
demon
first
horses?
in the first one there was like a zombie DLC that had
Okay,
the zombie horses, I
that
think.
okay. Let's go with that, and I need to be prepared the next time I do this, but because I've messed it up in like 3 interviews. But yeah, but so they showed me these demon horses with like these like elongated limbs, and I was just like,
Wow.
oh my god, that's her. She doesn't even have to do. I could just see the book then with those samples, and that's the coolest part about making comics is like that
You literally just telling that
magic
story,
moment.
talking about seeing her art for the first time, you like looked up in the sky and smiled. That was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in an interview.
I'm glad this
That's
is
ridiculous.
just is the camera is this going on YouTube, or is this just an
Yeah,
audio?
yeah, it'll be it'll
Oh,
they'll
good,
get
great.
video
Everyone
and
can see
audio.
my stupid face. Yeah, but
It's
yeah,
a
oh no,
nice face, sir. It's a good face. But yeah,
but yeah, that magic is the best, and
that is
it
crazy.
makes you look to the sky. Yeah, it is. It's like it's the greatest high as a writer, I
Yeah.
think, and what makes comics so fun is like you can. My scripts are pretty bare bones. I really like to give just enough to like trigger. You know what I mean? Like I want the artist to take over at a certain
Okay.
point, and just focus on the dialogue and focus on like the stuff you were talking about. And yeah, and it was just magic, and it shows in every page, and the color, and yeah, it's a different book. It became actually a less sad book when Anna signed on, I
Oh,
think, because it
really?
yeah, it was funny how it checked me being like, okay, let's relax a little. Just the tone and stuff. It just yeah, and it made it a better book because I think all the things you listed, like gay or not, the world is traumatic for everyone right now,
Yeah.
and like this project has been in my head for a really long time. And it's really special, like you said, westerns don't get greenlit, like slice of life. It's this book is sort of all in those categories that like wouldn't make it an easy yes for a publisher,
Hmm.
and it's a credit to Chip when he was at Comixology when he approved this, because he just said go, and that's like the coolest thing is for any creator.
Yeah.
And so I had that special yes, and I had this special artist, and I was just like, I really have to step up my game, and it really, I think, yeah, it was just yeah, a really cool process.
So you mentioned how like this the love of cowboys and the love of this culture has been that has like been like rooted in you at a young age. You kind of grew up in that,
Mm-hmm.
and then you told this really amazing story about how you met Anna. You know, everybody's talking
Yeah,
about Chip right now because of Distillery, right? Like Chip's
yeah,
killing
yeah,
it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
he came from this comicsology from finding new boy. You know, like that's why everybody was
Mm-hmm.
so excited about Distillery because of what Chip did at comicsology with all you guys. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of pieces that seem to have like fallen into place in really amazing ways for this project. But earlier on, you
Mhm.
mentioned that writing this book was very difficult. So what? If all of these if the stuff surrounding it, you know, is it sounds like, you know, I feel like a lot of comic book creators would be like, I wish my project had this back, you know, like had this story. But what was the
Yes.
hard part for it? Was it like the emotions, or like,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
yeah,
No, yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, and it's sort of like it is a little too much like Jimmy from the story where you got everything you wanted, and like how okay, now what? Like how are the snakes in your brain gonna twist this into something hard, or so yeah, it was like it became that, and then of
yeah,
course it was like the pandemic and lockdowns, and
yeah,
that wasn't helping anyone's mental health, and productivities or anything. So yeah, it definitely, and not that I didn't suffer, and I know I was very lucky, and I was very happy the whole time. Like I was lucky to write that book, so there was no like, I wasn't drinking like Jimmy or anything,
yeah.
but self-destructing. We don't leave this desk very often now in my old age, but yeah, it became well. It, it it's hard, but the nice thing is, once again, about comic books, which is why I probably will never write a novel, is all of a sudden there's other people and other professionals
Hmm.
in that are relying on you, and there's a production schedule, and you know, Comixology is flexible with the digital release to a certain extent, but you know, everything works backwards, and in a graphic novel, it's kind of it's in my experience as an editor and as a writer, like it is kind of a mind fuck because the whole project is up in front of you and it's not divided and it's 100 pages or more, and you really have to get disciplined really fast, and yeah, so having Anna, having, you know, we could hire an editor in Will Dennis, and I've worked with him a long time, so and lots of opportunities throughout my career are thanks to him. So I, you know, like once he's on as the editor, I have to perform. So you know, having Anna, having Lucas on lettering and design, and having those other people on the team, that kind of, you're not alone in a cave writing, you know,
Yeah.
by candlelight. You know, there's other people that kind of are contributing, and kind of, you know, all those doubts, or if you want someone to look at something and give their opinion, like there's always someone there, which is also the really cool part about comics.
It's funny how you mentioned like the snakes in your brain and how they twist things, and like because you've been on the other side of comic book creating, like you've been in the editorial seat on a lot of cool books, right? So like,
Yeah.
you know, like in your bones, like that this isn't like a solo endeavor, but you get in that writing chair and all of a sudden your brain's like you're all alone. You're, you know, it's like
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
nobody. But then like you're like, wait, though, we do have a team, you know. But it's hard to, you get caught up in things, especially in narratives like this, because you know you can get caught up in like horror and monster stories and cape drama too, right? But this is grounded in like I said, it's grounded in a realism that so many of us can. If you can't understand it, you're sadly broken, and you're probably not listening to comic book podcasts, honestly. If you're like, if this is a narrative that's like beyond your emotional spectrum, like
Yeah.
call
Well,
somebody
yeah.
real quick. But like, come on.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of people can feel it and run with it and know, like
Yeah.
I still 38 years old. I'll be 39, and oh, why did I say that, Greg? I'll be 39 in 3 months, 4 months.
Okay.
But you know, like I
I'm
still
older, don't
think of
worry.
like being in grade school and like, why did I say that to her? Like, or you
Yeah.
know, like when I gave I remember when I gave this girl Sydney the Goo Goo Dolls, that song, the Iris song that they did for the Angel movie.
Oh, yes. I
I
was.
gave her a tape with like that on both sides and like wrote her a letter, and that didn't, and then like then
Oh.
it was sweet, but then like every girl read it and they weren't like making fun of me, but like she let everybody read that letter who wanted to read it, and then like, and it, like, anyways, but you know that's
Yeah,
but
right. You
anyways,
never forget that
you
shit.
don't, you sure don't, bud. And like, and you brought that rocking back to the surface. You know,
Yep.
and like, and I came out a couple last year. I came out as bisexual. I kind of like finally
Oh, right
said,
on.
and so like I haven't like made a fool of myself in front of men yet, but I feel like I got that
Okay.
coming soon. And you like reminded me
Yeah.
that that's a possibility too. So
Well, I mean, everyone that it's, I don't know. Romantic stupidity is genderless.
yeah, and
So
timeless and ageless, and
everyone's
yeah.
embarrassing. Yeah, everyone's anxious, and yeah, I mean, yeah.
We're dumbest at our most pure. That's
Yeah,
that's
right. I
very
mean, well, yeah,
strange.
because yeah, feelings and vulnerability are hard for
Uh,
everyone.
they
So
are.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
make it
yeah.
look easy writing it, at least.
Oh,
You really do.
thank you.
Like Jimmy, you know, and even in like the self-destructive moments, like I said, where I've been there
Mhm.
too, and you know, you're like, we shouldn't do this, but you're also like, you're having a real good time, you know. And it's like no
Mm.
one ever talks about that, you know. It's like it's the morning after, or when you wake up and your car's wrapped around a light pole, or you know, like
Oh, yep,
everybody talks about but like leading up to
yep.
that, it's fun.
It's
It's
fun.
you're having a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
the fun really comes off on the page. And even when people kind of call him out, like the writing is so good, like, you know, the one liners, the quips, that his
Thank
interactions
you.
with people, he's so charming, like, and
Thank
he's
you.
so like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like the dialogue was great. I some of it I was just like, I was actually like kind of blown away a few times. I was just like, everything just feels so natural and it makes sense, and like the characters are so realized and like and know who they are. And again, and the you when you start looking at this art, and it's like I'm not seeing art like this in other books, which makes sense because this artist hasn't been in other books and is like you
Oh.
found her in this.
I mean, yeah. I don't want to gatekeep it. Like, Anna existed before me and will exist after me. But yeah, that's cool. Oh my gosh, it's like going to my funeral. You are the best reader ever. I thank you so much.
Thanks.
The dialogue is where I stress, and like the dialogue
Really?
is where I am hardest on myself, but also I'm really the most proud of. So thank you for saying that. Like Jimmy gets to that's the fun thing about writing dialogue with a character like this. Like Jimmy gets to say the cool thing you wanted to say, but you thought of 3 days later.
Yeah.
Like Jimmy, like, or that you were too drunk or stoned to say. Like Jimmy gets to say that in this fantasy world. That so he's fun to write for that. And I love, yeah. Always I'm going back to old movies as an example, but it's just like yeah, like and any movie, modern movies too, but when the dialogue is good, it's so good. And when
Mm-hmm.
characters go back and forth, you know, that's my favorite. So yeah, a story like this where the characters, there's no and I did as a creative challenge to myself, there's no internal narrative captioning
Mm-hmm.
because I wanted Jimmy to have to talk to these weird
Yeah,
things that
you're
he's
very much
seeing
in the now, like at
and
every moment.
yeah.
I feel even when we go
Yeah.
back in time and we see like when Jimmy like lets us explore this past that he's in a sense running away from, but the majority of the book going back towards sort of but
Mhm.
I don't I
Yeah.
want to be careful. I'm always careful what I say because I hate spoilers, but it's
Okay.
hard
Yep.
sometimes when I'm talking to y'all because like we have to talk about
Yeah.
some things, but also
Yep.
I mean this book the book's been out, so a lot of people have read it already, but it's about to come out
Yep.
again. You're about to get a hard copy all together, bound
Yeah.
and pretty and printed and back in shops again. So I hope
Mhm.
I would rather people like pick up on my excitement and deal with my vague statements than be like, oh, Blake spoiled this huge moment in this book.
Yeah. Well, you touched on it because I was very hesitant. You touched on the beginning because, like, the solicitations, like you were saying, I kind of wanted the hallucinations and the monsters to be a surprise, but then it's also like, but then you're missing like that was like the thing that makes it a comic book, right? Like that's the thing that
Mm,
makes it special and weird and an acid western and magical realism or all the above. And so it's like it's funny to, like how do you talk about it and not spoil it, but I don't think talking about that part ruins it.
yeah, and
And
also
I don't
like
think anything
seeing
you've
it.
said is yeah because
Well,
it's
I
like
would hope nothing I've said ruins your book.
oh my gosh, no, you're the best reviewer yet. This is amazing. Like I said, it's like going to your own funeral. I was like, who all these nice things. Thank you. Like I hope if one person picks up on your enthusiasm, then we're
It
doing
used to
something
be
right
the other
here.
way. Y'all used to come on here, and I used to just fill you up with everything I hated about the books and why no one should read it. And
Oh,
they were like, Blake, no one wants to do your show. And I'm just kidding. That never happened. I'm
I'll come
I've
back.
always
We could
been
do
very
the
positive, and even when I
yeah,
was like only
yeah,
reviewing books, like if I didn't like something, I just didn't talk about it. I always thought not
yeah.
saying something said enough. Like I didn't
Uh,
you're online.
yeah,
There's
yep.
you can Captain Hot Takes and
Mhm.
the dubious dickheads on X, right? Like you can say some weird stuff and everybody will like it and share it, and then but if you're just like,
Yeah.
I really like this book I read, like five people are like, cool bro, like it's like
Yeah, well, it's tricky because it's like that's the difference between a pro and a fan, right? Like, sure, you can
yeah.
go and complain about the X-Men all you want on Twitter. You're not the only one. But yeah, like if you want to, you want to make comics, like you're saying, and you want to, or anyone, and you want to make friends to draw, like if you can't, you have to be professional. It's like, and that's true of every creative industry too. And comic books, unfortunately, we don't have like a system that supports like paid criticism. So
Yeah.
all your comics journalists are doing it for the love and for the passion project. So you're lucky. Like when someone like you says, yeah, we're doing Trick Pony," it's just like, oh, thank God. Someone likes it.
No, like
Yeah.
I said,
So
I won't lie, man. There was a while back where like slice of life, I was not, I understand why they're there. And I think that a lot of people like
yeah.
dig that genre, but like it wasn't ever really for me. And I don't really know what like kind of changed my mind. I mean, getting into press and reading more stuff kind of opened my eyes. And then I was like, oh, like this is more than you know, it's not like the Lifetime holiday movie that the very ignorant part of me thought that this stuff once was, you know, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
if you're like, I don't really like horror, every now and then if everybody's talking about a horror book, I would try it, rent it from the library or
Mhm.
or Hoopla or something, right? Like if
Yep.
every now and then if you hate romances but everybody's talking about this, like try things
Mhm.
sometimes and like step out of your
Yeah.
wheelhouse, and you'll find some like really, I know nothing about rodeos and horse riding. Like I said, like I'm there for it. The culture was interesting. You know, everything, the
Cool.
characters were interesting, the interactions, the late nights. I used to be a bouncer. So I mean, like that kind of
Oh
stuff
yeah. Heck yeah. Yep.
I could kind of relate. I was like, oh yeah, we used to do stupid shit after work too. You know, that's when the best stupid
Yeah.
shit happens, actually.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yes.
and I know like not everybody's gonna be like the bi comic podcaster ex bouncer that oddly tied, but I'm for real. Like there's so much
Yeah.
here of like just like how we grow and grow apart from the people we love, whether it's like a lover or family or friends. The power of family, how even when you do grow apart and you can always you can always come home. I love that story. I'm very lucky with my family, and I'm still here. So like you know, like we all live in Kansas City, but like it's,
Yeah.
you know, like if one of us ever did leave, we could come back. You know, like
Yep.
we don't have one of those families where
Yeah.
that's like you're gone, you're dead to us. You know, like it's just we're not, no one's like that. So
Good.
that I really loved that whole deal of like him and his parents, and that how where that track of the story goes. I loved. I really like the dad character. Like we don't get
Good.
a lot of some of these characters, man. But you give us a few
No.
pages up with them, and
Good.
I'm like, I love this guy's dad, you know. And I'm like, it's just it's very powerful.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, these are hard things to pull off in a comic, even when you are writing all the dialogue and and all the cylinders are firing and everything's feeling good, and even when you get the art like you guys got on this, and it's such a beautiful book. It's a tricky book to pull off, because it is there are a lot of emotions. The rodeo and horse riding kind of give you action elements that's good,
Mhm.
like you were
Yeah.
able to build
Yeah.
tension and play on that, right? So like, you know, that kind of helps like in elements where, but even then, like a lot of those times I was like, that was cool, but like I want more people talking, like I want more dialogue, like I want discourse, I want to know more about these characters. I was
Cool.
just him and his horse, just Emmylou,
Emmy Lou. Yep.
like that was
Named after
whole.
Emmy Lou Harris.
I love that he took her like on that journey,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was like,
Yep.
I can't leave you here, girl. Like again, there are
Mhm.
little moments of Jimmy that just like sing with like an overabundance of like charm and romance and magic, and
Aw,
you do. You
thank you.
those little moments you put in there, man. Like I don't want to goose you up too much. Like I don't want to
Oh,
like.
too late. Sorry. Too late. Yeah, no, you got to start listing the things you hated to bring me back down to earth.
Oh yeah, well, I didn't like when I didn't like. I don't have any real bones to pick with it. It made me feel
Okay.
guilty. I wish my relationship with my mom was better, but whatever. Like that's all.
Oh,
My dad and I are real tight, but
yeah.
my mom not.
Okay.
My mom and I not so much. That's fine. I mean, we don't like hate each other, but it's not. It's, you know,
Hey, family's tricky, you know, and
it's
that's
weird. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I'm
Which
glad you
you
like the
get?
dad.
Would you get in this like?
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I have so many friends where like the dad, like there's I've got yeah, and queer or not, like yeah, it's tricky. So yeah, I wanted Jimmy's dad to be something worth running home to.
Yeah. And when he
To
sees
kind of break
him,
this spell.
when they first when he first sees him after getting home, the way Anna drew it too, like both of their eyes light up in panel, which was gnarly. I was like, how does that even work? I'm like looking at the page, like I'm seeing shit that's like not really here. It's like it's like both of you you're using the right words and she's using the right light and angles and facial like structures, right? And it's just like everything paints this like very picturesque scene. And so yeah, like you just see like when he walks in and him and his dad see each other after that. That was where I really loved it, and you really get that sense of like, and I know not everybody gets this, and that sucks, but that sense of when you do have, and no family's perfect, right? But when you have a pretty good family though, but like, Jimmy left, and he left more than heartache. He left his family, right? So that was a decision that was made, and he's not great at staying in touch with them. So even with his good relationship, he's not the best at being a son far away, right? And all of that ends like as soon as they all see each other and hug, and that was fucking beautiful to do in panel. And I still don't really know how you both pulled that off, but that was nuts.
That's all Anna, because it really, and maybe I can take some credit, but it was an important scene for me too. But
Like it wasn't even in the script, Blake. She just sent that in. I have no idea. No, okay.
No, it's true though, but because it's like there's so much more that she adds, like you said, like her control of light, her character acting, like there's so many things that like you dream. I can't dream of because I'm not a talented artist, and I can't. And so when stuff like that comes back, and it is, and like emotions like that, and things that are abstract in the script, even, are, it's really powerful. And and it makes me speechless as I stammer through that explanation. It's really magical, and for lack of a smarter word.
Well, I mean, we've said it a few times now. We've said powerful, we've said magical, we've said emotional. All of these ring true. This is a great book, and I really encourage, everybody, the enthusiasm is, I'm not a good actor. Okay. Like when I get excited about stuff, I get excited about stuff. And I'm excited about this book, and I encourage people, I really encourage people to check it out. I did get, part of, before I even started reading it, when you were your shout outs to like Chip, and I was like, we're in a good place already. I was like, and then like, and then I'm dropped into backstage of a rodeo and empty bottles on the road, and also, dude, it was a masterful journey. And I'm Greg, I'm, whatever you got going next, I will be keeping an eye out on it. Same with Anna, whatever. Like, but I'm like, for real, I see your name on a cover, I'm checking it out. It's a new rule now at Blake's Buzz.
Blake, thank you so much. That's so special. I write slow, so give me some time, but hopefully I like, this reaction. Like, Liebestrasse took a long time to go in, and it's a slice of life, and it's historical fiction, but I'm just proud of these books, and if they keep, I'm lucky to have made them, and if I get to make another one, it takes another 3 years or more. Like, as long as like reactions like this are priceless. So
well, really whatever, if it take 2 years, 3 years, don't rush it, dude. Keep doing you, Greg. That's just stay on that road. Yeah, I mean, on that note, I like I said, the book is about to come out. You can get it digitally. You can get it on Kindle or Comixology, right? But it's about to be in print now, so you can go. It deserves a spot on your shelf. And Dark Horse, I believe, is printing
Comics,
it.
beautiful. It printed beautifully. It's out of reach, but I've got some of the comps here, and our
what's that like, real quick,
system.
to get like a, because this came out, right? Like the book came out. You had like your #1 premiere. Yep. And then the issues came out, and it got, it got reviewed, and you it did the thing, and it got reviews left on Amazon, but now it's been a minute, and now you're getting like a new re-release from another publisher, a renowned publisher with its own audience and its own reach, so like, more new people are going to be reading this. Like, not every writer gets to experience that. What's that like?
No, It's so cool, and it's kind. It has been cool because yeah, and the space between the digital release and the print for both my books that I've done as a writer, um, it kind of lets you get the nerves out a little bit because it's harder to fight the algorithm with like the digital release, and it's harder to get people's eyes on it. And so you do, and people come through, and then it's still an official release, but getting the print version as like just a comic book geek and a book lover is really powerful. And I do like going to shows, and I do like talking to people and hand selling it. Like that is part of my personality disorders. Is I don't mind standing there all day smiling and talking to strangers. So yeah, I get a chance to sell it to people, and I get a chance to talk, and it's yeah, to talk about this book and just kind of hold the book and show people how gorgeous that art is yeah, my dream. So yeah, my greatest. This is as good as it gets.
Very
Yeah, like
cool.
that stuff, that face to face stuff is the best.
So I
Yeah.
get that. I get, yeah, cons are cool. And so
Yeah.
I hope you get to, whether it's this the tail end of this con season or next year's con season, I hope you get to sit at those tables with a stack of these books and show them off, and I hope when people touch them with their greasy, weird, diseased hands, they actually buy them. So you don't have to put them back in that stack and touch them later. I'm just kidding. I'm
No,
not. Everybody
I
gets
get
sick
it.
at
Hey,
cons for a reason, but
everyone gets sick. Yeah. No, and hopefully I come to Kansas City. I've been wanting to do that show forever. So
it's fun.
I would love to do. Yeah.
it's pretty fun. And I've heard like Cullen Bunn has said like
Uh-huh.
he's real big on it, and he's, from what I heard from the people, like the comic people there, is they're obviously, they bring in a lot of Hollywood Row people too because that makes money,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
they say like it's one of the like few remaining cons that like really caters to the comic book pros, and like
Oh,
still
yeah.
like makes the comic book portion a big part of the show. So
Oh, good.
that made me feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a
it's cool.
dying breed. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
and you get good barbecue if you like barbecue.
Good barbecue, right? And good Mexican food too, right?
Yeah, we
Kansas
do
City has
have,
good Mexican food.
we have great. There's too many taco trucks to even keep track of, but I've yet to be let down by one. Like, and
I mean,
they
that's all
all
you need to
have
know.
this like green sauce they
Uh-huh.
all, it tastes a little bit different. It's some kind of like tomatillo creamy sauce. Oh,
Uh-huh.
dude,
Okay.
it's stupid good.
Amazing.
I could just
I'm
like
sold.
put that on a tortilla plane and eat it. Maybe it's anyway.
Uh, okay.
It's
Heck yeah.
good.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sold. I'm sold. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully we can meet at that show or some other show. That would be nice. And I
Oh
can
yeah.
embarrass you about your good work here.
I'm always happy to be embarrassed and nerd out with good people in public.
Good.
Greg, this is for real, man. I had a blast talking with you. I had a
Oh,
bigger
me
blast
too.
reading your book. Honestly,
Thank
it really
you.
did connect with me on a whole lot of levels. And just a nice reminder of the power that comic books can deliver messages with. So that was really, I hope you got something special here. I know this industry's tough sometimes, and I know a lot of you
Thank
guys, you
you.
indie guys, write great shit that doesn't always put the numbers up that you guys want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do hope man, you got something real special here that I hope I hope a lot of people will give it a chance and check it out because it's worth a read.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This interview was very special. And yeah, like an interview like this is so important for a book like this. So thank you for taking the time. And yeah, I'm gonna be selling this book until I die. So and we're gonna sell it one way or another.
So I'll probably be on this
thank you.
microphone until I die too, bud. So you'll have to come
Hell
back later
yeah.
on.
All
Real
right, we'll do
quick,
part two
uh,
like in
Greg,
5 years.
because I
Writing
am
that.
the polite and amazing podcast host that I am, like real quick, website,
Yeah.
newsletter, social media, where's the best place to keep track of you?
Yeah, I've got a newsletter. It's up on Substack currently, and that's greglockard.substack.com. I'm pretty much off Twitter, but I'm there as a ghost with my name, Greg Lockard. I'm on Facebook. My website is greglockard, LOCKARD.com. And yeah, I'm on Instagram mostly, but
Nice.
with a strange handle. It's Pink, PINK, POPRX, Pink Pop Prescription. My old AOL name as a
Nice.
as a kid
I
that
thought
thought he was
I
cool.
didn't think the RX. I went rocks. I went pink pop. I thought you were talking about
Yeah, well,
pop
that's
rocks.
the play. That's the pun or whatever. Yeah, I thought I
I'm
was
just a
Grant
fat
Morris.
guy who likes candy, man. That's what the
Well,
problem is.
yes, I'm a fat guy that likes candy and that likes Grant Morrison '90s comics. So I thought
Nice,
I was like a raver or something. I don't know what I thought, but yeah, it is a
nice.
good reminder of the '90s.
Those weird times.
Yeah,
No.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's amazing.
Well, awesome. Well, everybody, I for real like follow Greg, keep track of him, and
Thank you.
Trick Pony. I like if you see it at the shop, like flip through it, look at the art. I challenge a lot of people to see how beautiful this book is and not want to take it home. But like, I mean, for real, like the art's beautiful. But Greg, so are your words, so's the story, so's the journey that these characters go on. Whatever you do in the
Thank you
future,
so
I'm
much,
so
Blake.
excited about it. You're a great storyteller, dude, and everybody who's tuning in, thank you so much. You know I love you. Love more, hate less, read comics. You know how we do it at Blake's Buzz. I'll be back with more amazing guests, with more amazing comics. But they're gonna have to come strong to follow this emotional appeal up on this one, folks, because this is
Yeah.
we may the next one we may need to do like cape battles and gunslingers or something because we like
Okay.
'cause
Yeah.
Greg,
You need a refresher, a
yeah,
palate cleanser.
yeah,
We need to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta dry the tears with napalm.
Oh, yeah. That's poetry. There you go.